talking about the what brought it. I'm trying to think of the
They were
root of their
talking
conversation.
about uh code switching.
Yes, that's where it came from, code switching, and then it just took a uh took a turn, and then they started talking about like the black family and how it's been an agenda to like destroy the black family.
Yep.
I think the prison industrial complex is obviously one of the biggest, I think,
Yep.
ways that they've tried to destroy the black family for
Oh
sure.
yeah. All right, we're out. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, clearly we still need to do a new intro.
We're doing this in stages
Yeah,
now.
yeah, stages. We've been rolling it out, but appreciate y'all. So the niche market that we are now kind of pivoting towards a little bit, just zooming in on, is going to be kind of couples and married couples that are interested in building wealth, right? And we really want this show to highlight examples of married couples that come on here who are building wealth, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through entrepreneurship, people that come on and be able to talk about healthy habits that they've done either within the marriage or healthy habits that they promote as a coach. And we really just want this show, this podcast, and this brand to be a community and beacon for positive black love and wealth.
Yes,
Yeah, you agree with all that, Sinclair?
absolutely.
Beautiful. Anything you want to sprinkle on that before we get into some beautiful statistics?
No, no,
Mm.
I think you covered it.
Beautiful. Okay, well, let's get into it. If you're watching, we will throw up some graphics. If you are listening, we will just be as detailed as possible. But we wanted to go over some data from blackdemographics.com on just married couples, period, in America, right? So if we can throw that up, King Jair, appreciate you. And Sinclair, with her amazing eyes, will read the percentage of black folks in America that are married.
Yes. So if we're looking at black people in general, 30% are married, 50% have never been married,
Mm,
12% are divorced. I don't know if we want to go through all of them. 3% separated, 6% widowed.
thank you, Queen.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to think about if we know, or it's kind of connected, right? That marriage leads to longer life, that marriage leads to healthier habits. The fact that we are the least married
Mhm.
and most never married,
Right.
slightly concerning.
Yeah.
From a health person's perspective, talk to me about your thoughts on that.
The fact that we are the most never married and the least married.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, just based off of wow, I cannot say
You are
that word.
struggling with that word.
Statistics. Man, based on the statistics I just went over, I mean it if you think about the fact that the marriage statistics and the health statistics coincide in that if marriage is better for your health, we are the least married and the
Yeah.
most struggling, if you
In
will,
health.
within the health,
Yeah.
right? So that it matches up with what the studies are showing.
Hmm.
So that is an interesting thing, that a connection that I did make. Like, okay, maybe there is something to that whole,
Yeah.
marriage making you healthier situation.
Yeah. And I didn't put this slide up, but there is another kind of a statistic on like the top 10 I think reasons for dying for black
Mm-hmm.
people. Number 1 was heart disease.
Mm.
I believe it was like 77,000 people are dying every single year from heart disease, period. And we know if your cortisol levels are higher, that can be messing up with your heart, high
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure, all of that stuff. So I think it is an interesting connection that maybe as we go along with the next 100, 200 episodes of the show, we dive deeper into. But yeah, 30% married, 50% never married.
That's so high.
It's so high.
That's the one I didn't think. I would have thought the divorce rate would have been higher, but they're
Mm,
like the never married 50%.
50%
Half
never
of us
married.
have never been married. That's crazy.
Yeah. What do you think is causing that?
Um, I think it's I think a large part of it is the kind of the stigma around marriage and and divorce that happens afterwards.
Hmm.
Um, I think that I mean, depends how deep you want to go. I think that there's a lot of history that goes into
Yep.
why, marriage is not marriage may not be as built into our culture as it is in others.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that yeah, that's crazy. I think that historically, having the black man kind of ripped out of the black family
Mhm.
definitely did something to the concept of marriage, I think, in the black community.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think the kind of the idea that so many marriages lead to divorce, I think it does kind of scare some people away. Like, why
Yeah.
even bother?
And that's something that I think I want us to, as a show, be able to fight back a little bit, because yes, there are some marriages that end in divorce, and I feel like because divorce has been so normalized, we expect that, like, oh, if you get married, eventually you'll get divorced. But looking at the statistics, it's not most people,
Right.
right? It's 12%
Right.
of black marriages end up in a divorce, which isn't that high if you really think about it.
That's so interesting because it's like almost like if that is the reason, it's like folks are scared for something that's not even really the reality. More
Right.
people are scared of, getting married again,
Hmm.
if that's the main reason, scared of actually diving in for
Hmm.
what could happen when really it's what was 12% or something like that.
12%.
So when compared to 50% of people that never actually get married,
Right.
very, very interesting.
Yeah, let us know what y'all think. Go ahead and leave us a comment, send us a DM. Let us know why you feel like 50% of black folks in America are never getting married. Now, based on my little research that I did, I think it's directly kind of what you were talking about, directly connected to the prison industrial complex.
Mhm.
So little history lesson, right? 1971, President Nixon really started like the war on drugs.
Mhm.
And this is where we see a lot of men of color, specifically black men, being locked up for drugs. We see the epidemic of cocaine versus crack, and where you have cocaine, you're only going to jail for a few years, maybe. If you have crack, it's almost like a life sentence,
Right.
right? We saw tons of people going to jail for hemp, for marijuana, which now they've been kind of released now that's been legalized. But tons of black males
Mhm.
were getting locked up, right? And at one point, let me look at the statistics. By the year 2000, 500,000 black men were in prison.
Mm, mm, mm.
So we think about how 50% of black folks are never married. If 500,000 eligible bachelors
Right.
are in jail, in prison, there's no opportunity to get married. And
Mhm.
then once they do hopefully get free, they come home. Now they're, 45, 50 years old, they're home. It might be difficult to start dating at that point,
Right.
right? The dating rules have probably changed since the 70s. Right? You can't
Mhm.
wear the same slim suit, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't wear the same heels with the fish in it. Like
Can't do the same cat calling that was
no,
socially acceptable.
all that game doesn't necessarily work anymore, right? So it's like you're coming back, and you may want to date, you may not, but coming back, even trying to date, can be very different. Like you gotta get on all these apps now. There's Instagram,
You on the
Facebook,
apps?
right? What Tinder? Like it's just like, how do you even learn how to date when you've been indoctrinated, when you've been in prison for that many years?
Right.
So that's what I'm connecting it to.
Mhm.
One of many things, but definitely the spike in black men and men of color being sent to jail for the war on drugs.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Queen?
No, I think that that is spot on. 500,000 people. That's I mean, that's that's a large percentage of, like you said, the eligible bachelors in in the nation. So
Mhm.
that's crazy.
Right. That's literally 500,000 families
Right.
that could have started.
Right.
Right. That's a million children, because the average married couple, black married couple, has 2 to 3 kids.
Hmm.
So if you have 500,000 men in jail, if they weren't in jail, we would assume hopefully that they would have started families. That's literally a million kids
Yep.
that may not have been born, many families.
This is bringing me back to the social proof podcast we just listened to
Hmm.
yesterday.
Talk a little louder for me, Queen.
Um, they were talking about um they were talking about the what brought it. I'm trying to think of the
They were
root of their
talking
conversation.
about code switching.
Yes, that's how where it came from, code switching, and then it just took a uh took a turn, and then they started talking about like the black family and how it's been an agenda to like destroy the black family.
Yep.
I think the prison industrial complex is obviously one of the biggest, I think,
Yep.
ways that they've tried to destroy the black family for
Oh
sure.
yeah. And I've said since the beginning, right? When we talk about why love is so important to me, I feel like starting a strong, beautiful, amazing black family is the most revolutionary thing you can do.
Mhm.
Right? Because there's so many things that are pulling us, so many things that are pulling the black woman this way, the black man this way, our kids that way. But if you can somehow fight against those forces and you can build a beautiful, healthy
Yeah.
black family that's proud to be black and they see themselves in each other, it's the most revolutionary thing you can do. It's
Dangerous.
dangerous. It's dangerous, and that's one of the things that we're hoping this podcast, this show will help do. And if we can put up Jair the just statistics for all races being married within the United States, just to compare a little bit, right? So if you're looking at how many white Americans are married, what's that percentage?
52.
52%. That's beautiful. And how
Yep.
much are never married?
28. Almost
28. So it's
half.
like it's literally the reverse.
Right.
That's interesting. Literally the reverse. How about our Latino population?
43% married, 43% never married. Half
Okay.
half.
Okay. And then who has the highest divorce rates?
It's high between black and white.
Okay.
Both have
Interesting.
12%.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
Asian folks have the highest percentage of marriage at 58.
Come on, API community. We see y'all. I wonder what caused that. Like these differences. I wonder, are they cultural? Are
Mhm.
they societal, political? What do you
Probably
think?
probably a bit of both. Because
Hmm.
I think if we're, um I think there are still some cultures that do, like, arranged marriages and things like that.
Mm,
So if that's obviously a whole different type of culture where, yeah, you're going to get married regardless. So I think that is obviously coming into the statistics as well.
mhm,
So I think that a lot of those will fall into that Asian community. So
mm.
that's probably a factor.
Interesting stuff. So the title of this show was called "The Wealth of Black Love," if I'm not mistaken. So I do want to kind of pivot us a little bit and start talking about income, start talking about net worth. So in your opinion, do you think there's a economic benefit to being married?
Yes.
You
That's
question
not
it.
my forte. I couldn't tell
Mm,
you like what all the ways, but I mean, they say like tax. Although I feel like there's some belief that being married helps you in taxes, but then you were explaining the other day,
yeah,
you just have to know how to do your taxes, doing them filing individually versus filing as joint
yeah,
makes a difference. Um, yeah, I think just the idea that you're putting two people's incomes together helps you automatically, I think, wealth wise,
mhm,
because yeah, you just have a bigger pot of money to go out and do things. Yes, we would be able to, invest in real estate separately, but we can do a lot more together.
right. Yes, and I 100% agree with you. Two bags are better than one bag, right? So you got a
Yeah.
bag, I got a bag. We bring it together. Boom, we got one big bag, and now we can do a lot of moves together, right? So some more statistics for you. Number one, the median married household income is $81,000,
Mm.
right? And median is the income in the middle, not necessarily the average. But if you line up all the incomes for all married couples from 0 to 50 million, that's Jay Z and Beyonce. The middle number would be 81,000. Now, the median single mother household income is $35,000, right? Now, it's going to be kind of stat heavy, but 46% of black children are living in single mother households.
46.
46%, almost half of the children in America are living in single mother households,
Black children.
black children, single mother households making $35,000 a year. Right. So when we think about the outcomes for our kids, and this is no shade to single mothers, no, y'all are superheroes. Y'all are doing everything that you can with that 35,000. Y'all making it stretch, flip, backflip, Christmas on Monday, all types of stuff. Right. No shade to the magic that y'all are doing out there for sure. But looking at what you're able to do with 35 versus what you would be able to do with 81, I think it's not no question that your kids will be able to do possibly more things.
Mhm.
Maybe you can travel other places. I don't know what type of healthcare you have access to, but I would assume you have access to higher healthcare. And
Mhm,
there's just more stuff that you can do with literally 2 times the amount of money because
mhm,
you have both homes. Rent would be virtually the same, right? Proportionately,
mhm.
right? Stuff you're spending on food would be the same because you still got the same number of kids, right? But you have more income now. So just something to think about as, again, married couples are able to make more money and produce possibly more for their kids as well.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.